Hi, friends. All right, welcome back to another week of Call to Homeschool. Friends, I'm excited for school this next year. I have been working really hard on my own homeschool schedule and it's done. I'm so excited about it. I haven't bought anything, I haven't got that far. I've just written down what we're doing. And it is completely eclectic because that's how I roll. So some things will be a rotation through like a 12 weeks. Some things will be a monthly rotation. It's a whole exciting thing. So I will be doing a full episode of what we'll be studying this next year. I will be, let's see, I have 4 kids homeschooling now, and my 15-year-old, he is still doing College for America through Southern New Hampshire University, but he's going to come home and do some more homeschool stuff with us. So I'm really excited about that. My ninth grader, she is 14 and she's full homeschooled. My 11-year-old, it's full homeschooled, and my 5-year-old's full homeschool. So I'm going to go through what we'll be studying together as a group, what they'll be studying individually, and how that's all going to look. So I am really excited to share that stuff with you. Those are some of my most popular episodes. And I think, I know for myself, I just want the ideas. Like a lot of people don't even do exactly what I do, but they like to hear the review of things I've done. I try to pre read as much as I can during the summertime. Luckily, because I have like 1,000 children, I've already read most of these books for my older 3. So well, I guess not all of them for the things, but a lot of the stuff I've already pre-read. So that's really fun. And I am so excited about doing it. So make sure you check back in the next week or two when that episode will air. I also have decided to do my first ever No Yelling November boot camp. So instead of just 1 month, we're going to do 2. We're going to do a boot camp. And I'm really, really excited about that. So you're gonna want to come check that out. So I want to talk to you a little bit about something on my mind and on my heart. I have been having the opportunity to coach a lot of teens lately. I love teens. I think they're awesome and I think they're fun, and I think one of my gifts is that I can really see them and just love them. And I can get past a parent saying like my kid's such a pain in the butt or they're so difficult and all those types of things. And I have the biggest soft spot for teens and kids. And I won't coach a child. I just don't think they're ready. But I will coach teens. And I think I did an episode about that not too long ago. And it has just been so amazing. I love it. I will only coach teens that want to be coached. So that weeds out anybody who's like, change my kid. But I wanted to share a little bit about a teen I recently coached. So, like I said, I won't coach them unless they want to be coached. I'm very clear about that. I will just end the call if somebody tries to put their teen on there. It's like, I don't want to be here. It's only happened once and never again. So, thank you for respecting that rule. Don't waste anybody's time and money. So this teen said they wanted to be coached, and so I was all aboard, really excited, and this has just been a ton of fun. So I have coached several teens, and I've talked about that before, things they have questions about in their life. How do I deal with my annoying siblings? Honestly, a lot of my teen coaching is teaching them how to feel their feelings, and that has been fun. With one teen, we actually did a little bit of a meditation and just taught her how to feel her feelings, and it was awesome. She's like, wow, like I was so scared of my feelings. I didn't even know it wasn't scary to do what we just did. So, anyways, I had this amazing teen that I got to coach with. And we had an amazing session, totally biased. I think he's wonderful, but I think all the teens and mamas I coach are amazing. And he loves football. And luckily, I have also 1,000 sons who all love football. And so I know a lot of football references and teams and even players on stuff. So it really helped me to be able to connect with him. And we were talking about football and how in football, I won't say his favorite team, how he has his favorite team. And what they do each week is they do film. And they go and they watch their film. And they see, like, oh, if I would have just been over 2 steps, then the quarterback could have thrown this pass to me. Like, it would have been so much better. We could have got a touchdown. It would have been amazing, right? So you go back and you watch your film of your football game and you go and review, what could I have done better? And then you also review, what did I already do amazing, right? Celebrate my wins. Obviously, I've never played football, so I'm assuming that they celebrate the wins. But then they learn from their mistakes, right? So then they decide, what am I going to do next game in the practices so that I can quit having those mistakes and I can keep getting better and improving and doing all these types of things. So as we kept diving into the session, something was just feeling a little bit off about what he was telling me. He had picked up some habits of yelling and arguing with his mom. He had been in therapy before, and the therapist said, "Hey, you just need to listen to your mom and do what she says, and then there won't be any more arguing." And that obviously did not sit well with you. Imagine if I came to you and you and your husband were fighting all the time, and I said, "Just do exactly what your husband said. If he tells you to have dinner ready at this time, don't question it, don't do anything, and just do what he says." How excited would you be about that? Probably not very excited. So he was feeling the same way. So then I got really curious. That's a part of the best with coaching. I love it to get curious. Like, what do you actually want? And said, "Do you care that you argue with your mom?" Because maybe he's like, "I really don't care. Maybe I think it's fun." Maybe, like, some people love arguing. So getting really curious with them and asking him, like, "Do you actually want to stop arguing with your mom?" And he's like, "I really do. I really don't like this. I think my mom and I could have a lot of fun, but, like, I really don't want to do this anymore." He said that their arguing had gotten really bad. And at first he's like, "It only happens 1 to 3 times a week." And then as we are going through the session, he was like, "Well, maybe almost every day." And like, "Well, actually, maybe like just 5 times a week." But he's like, "Or every day." "Well, it's a lot." And just kept going, it really is a lot. It's happening all the time. Right. And so just saying, like, "This is happening a lot. I don't like this anymore. I actually don't even want to come home. I avoid being home because I just know there's going to be arguing and there's going to be fighting." So I just kept digging in deeper with questions and getting him really talking. And he was great because we didn't have to break down walls or do anything like that. He was really receptive and really open to coaching. So he made that part really easy. So, as we were diving into the session and getting curious with things, he opened up and started telling me, "Well, my parents argue a lot." And so, as we dug in, he is seeing that when his parents have an issue, they yell at each other, they argue and they fight, and then that's how they solve their issues. So he is learning by his parents' example that when I'm upset with something or I don't like the way something is, I yell at somebody, I can argue and fight, and then we just work things out, right? Everything is just fine. He actually then opened up to me and told me, "You know what? It's actually my fault that my parents argue. And if I would just listen to my mom, then my parents would stop and we would all be happy." So I said, "Then why don't you? Why don't you just listen to what your mom says? And if you think this will work, why don't you do that then?" And he said, "Well, sometimes I'm in the middle of something. I'm playing. I'm doing something I enjoy. I'm watching a show. I'm doing whatever. And she comes and demands right then at that moment that I do what she says." And so I got curious with him and said, "What about letting her know?" Sometimes I give action lines and sometimes it's coaching, right? So we had talked about football players and how we give skills and to football players, right? Like if you're going to throw a ball, this is how you hold your hand and your arm and all those types of things. And so giving him some skills of what he could do, right? And so like, okay, if your mom comes and demands something, could you say, "Mom, I hear you and I'm going to do it. Just give me 5 minutes to finish this and then I will go and do it." So we got talking, and at first he was all excited. And then he goes, "You know what? Actually, I've done that before, multiple times. And my mom gets mad and just sits and nags me until we start fighting, and then I just go and do it." And he goes, "If I would just listen to her, but like, I don't know why she has to come and interrupt me while I'm in the middle of something and I just don't understand. But sure, if I could just like obey everything she wants me to do, then there would be no fighting." He thinks that if he will change, then his mom will finally be happy. He thinks if he changes, then his parents will stop arguing. He thinks that if he changes, there will be no arguing anymore in his home with anybody in his house. Mamas. I'm not going to full on get on my soapbox here, but let me just point out two things. First, our actions speak so much louder than our words. So here's this kid who is openly saying, "Yeah, I'm arguing back with my mom." Our example speaks so much louder than our words. Where is he learning how to argue and handle conflict? Right in his own home. So look at your own self. Are you doing the very things that you ask your kids not to do? Do you tell your kids you should not be on your phone so much and then you're on your phone way too much? Right? Like, have you ever gone in and said, "Oh my goodness, my kid was on their phone for 2 hours today. That's ridiculous." And then gone into your settings and see how long you are on yours? Um, do you eat food? You say, don't eat. That's not good for your body. Don't eat that. And then you go secretly go eat it. Do you do anything like that? Do you yell and scream at your kids? And then are shocked when they yell and scream back at you or at their siblings or anybody else? Our actions speak so much louder than the things we're trying to teach our kids. If you are doing these things, friends, stop being so darn surprised that your kid is doing them too. Now, I will say kids have their own agency, just like we all have our own agency, and they can recover from this. But while they are in your home and younger, it is very challenging for them to rise above that, like, oh, I'm in charge of my own emotions. And if my parents yell at me, I don't have to yell, and I don't have to do what my parents do. They don't figure those things out until they move out of the house. And, like, I don't like that. So even though they have their own agency, are you their obstacle for them to learn how to manage their life, right? Second, stop putting the responsibility of your happiness on your kids. This kid that I was coaching just thinks, I'm in charge of my mom's happiness, because she repeatedly tells him, if you would stop doing this, then I could just be happy. Your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility only. It is not your kids, not your husband's, not the government, not your neighbors, not anybody else. Your happiness is your business and your responsibility. Friends, your happiness comes from the thoughts you tell yourself. You can choose to be happy no matter what. You don't always have to be. Maybe you don't always want to be. But it is not whether or not your kids listen to you, whether or not you are going to be happy. Happiness comes from the thoughts you tell yourself. I am super passionate about this topic because I think kids get put in a really challenging situation. You can yell and scream at your kids, and you don't really face any consequences immediately. Now, you will face them eventually down the road as your kids pull away or don't want to be with you or become a people pleaser. But you don't really face any hard consequences right then and there. Your kids, however, they get stuck and they have no options. Can you imagine if your husband came home and just started yelling at you and belittling you? You can call the cops. You can get a divorce. You can leave. You have lots of options. What does a kid do? Especially if they can't even drive, right? They go run away. If they ran away, what would happen if a cop picked them up? Take them back home. Tell them to shape up. Shape up or ship out, right? Like, quit doing these things because you're making your parents yell. Kids just have to take it. They can't move out. They can't get a divorce from you. They can't do those things. They're just stuck. And when they feel stuck, guess what kids do? They rebel. They fight back as they get older. They stop coming around the house. They try to avoid coming home at all costs. They ignore you. Or on the other end, like this client I had, they become a people pleaser. And they try their darndest to make you happy. It's impossible. Maybe you're a people pleaser and you can look back and say, like, oh, I tried to make my own parents happy, and now I worry about everybody else's own happiness, and I don't even worry about my own. That's what you're creating with your kid. It's so interesting as a kid, if you've been yelling and fighting and arguing with your kid for years, and then they reach the teenage years, that's when you'll get the consequences of your choices. And you're shocked that your kid doesn't want to be with you or fights with you or becomes a people pleaser. It's like, I can tell you how that happened, right? You may not like the answer, but I will tell you how it got there. So, this may sound like a little bit of a doom and gloom, but I am on a mission, mamas, to help create amazing homes. And I have found that transformation starts with you. If I thought there was no hope, I would just go and worry about my own family and just try to keep us safe and try to teach my kids amazing skills. But I believe that mamas are so incredibly powerful. I 100% believe that. And I believe as mamas start the transformation, it spills over into your home. You think your example speaks louder than words? See your example about being calm when there's chaos. See your example of being loving when someone's being unloving. Your example is powerful. Use it in the way that you want. This transformation that starts with you is such great news because all you really have control over is yourself. And as you continue to work on yourself and build these amazing skills and habits, it spills over naturally to your family. Mamas, if you are yelling at your kids and you feel stuck, like, I don't know what else to do, nobody listens to me until I've asked the 15th time and I start screaming and yelling, I've got you. Or if you feel like your kids would just listen or behave, then you could finally be happy, I've got you. That's what I'm focusing on this year with my No Yell November boot camp. I am helping you with that transformation. I'm doing a kickoff call the end of September 29th, and the call will be recorded if you cannot make it, where I'll be going over all the questions and all the amazing things that we're going to be doing. Then you get to join me in a private Facebook group that is just for those doing the No Yell November boot camp. Each week, you will be getting a video from me with tips of something you can be doing and working on to start kicking this habit and start becoming that person that you know you have the potential to be and start that transformation. Not only will that you have that, you'll get the support from other mamas, which honestly is so huge to be in a community of other people. Like, guess what? I love you, warts and all, and we're all here and we're all trying to do our best. I have found that it is the amazing group of women that are not judgmental, that understand and are loving and saying, but I know we can do better. Let's cheer each other on to get there. I will be in the Facebook group answering your questions, cheering you on, giving you support and all those things. I will also be doing live calls a few times in the month to help you, answer your questions, help you when you're getting stuck, help you, like, here's what happened, right? Just like I was teaching this teen about the football, you go back and watch film, like, here's what was happening when I yelled at my kid. Okay, let's go watch film. We can be neutral about it. You know, it's funny. I actually have a lot of people think that I judge them for yelling. And I know even though I'm super passionate about it, I never judge. I actually have so much compassion because I've heard your stories. I've heard how bad you don't want to be doing this, but you don't know what else to do. So just know from me, you will never be judged for past mistakes because I am an imperfect person as well. And I will love you through the whole entire process. This is another part I'm really excited to add. I'm going to be adding in small daily habits to set yourself up for success so that when November rolls around, you'll be able to complete the whole month without yelling at your kids, without criticizing them, without being sarcastic or anything, whatever you're working on. Now, some mamas already don't yell, but they're like, I'm ready for the next level. I am too critical with my kids, and so that's the next level that I want to do. And that's what I worked on last year for No Yell November. Is not being critical. That's my go-to. Like, let me tell you everything that just went wrong. If you're past that point, you're like, well, maybe I'm super sarcastic. Maybe this is my next step. Maybe I could point out more of what they're doing right. So wherever you are, whether it's not yelling, not being critical or sarcasm or something else you want to do, I'm going to help you. And then one of my favorite things, prizes. So for everybody who completes the small and simple daily habits and goes the whole month of November without yelling, you get prizes. Prizes are fun, and I'm so excited about it. So this is free to everybody in Mama's Members, and which is a community that I just adore and love these women. And I watch them and I hear them, and they are good. Whenever I get worried about what's going on in the world, I think of my mamas and Mama's Members. And I tell myself everything's going to be okay because there is a legion of women who are quiet and good. And they are a force to be reckoned with because of the amazing things that they are doing in their home and the things that they are creating. They are amazing. Now, not everybody always wants to be in Mama's Members, and that's fine. So if you don't want to join Mama's Members, but you still want to participate in No Yell November, I made it available on my website where you can grab a ticket. If you go to www.coachmegthomas.com, you'll see in the upper right-hand corner, it says events, and you can grab a ticket there. You can also grab one of my Instagram link tree in my bio. So if you are ready to be the force for good that I know you are capable of, I want to see you in this No Yell November boot camp and start the transformation. Take it another step of being the person you know you are and creating the home that you know you have the power to create. I love your guts. No matter what, I love your guts. And I will talk to you next week.